actually, since we were speaking on the NFT NYC event before, I just wanted to give you and the entire team like appreciation for actually creating such an amazing experience for those who attended in person and those who attended virtually. It honestly reminded me of like a MLG event. It was so cool, dude. It was so cool. Also, in addition to that, the experience to mint the Origin archive and the memory core was also incredible as well. So I was just wondering, can we expect any similar community experiences, whether in person or virtual, in the near future?
Yeah, so you're talking community experience, you mean like the event specifically, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so honestly, that was our first event, and at first we weren't gonna, just a little bit of retrospect, like we weren't initially planning to do anything at NFT NYC, but with the whole team going there and the opportunity arose, we're like, let's full send it, and it was really an all hands on deck thing, and it was just crazy to see it come together, right? And I see a lot of people that were there, in the call, right? Huge shout out, Insight. Juniverse was there. That's where I met Hunt for the first time. I remember when I didn't even have to see Hunt, but I just look up. All he said was Andelu, and I look up, and I was like, I already know what's up, dude. So like, and to me, like that was one of the coolest things, right? And for me as well, it wasn't just the act of the event. It was just really having the opportunity to meet a lot of people that we talk to every day in person. And to me, that was one of the coolest parts, right? And for and again, like from a longer term standpoint, I want to do more of those, right? They may not always be at that scale. They may be bigger than that scale, right? NFT Paris is something, that we're big looking forward to in the future. To give a direct answer to the question, we are planning NFT at Paris event for next year. But also something I want to do on the much smaller scale is really just kind of travel the world and meet people in person, right? And I think that's, to me, that's something that's value, right? Like, insight, I'm going to go on the insight lore, right? Insight's someone that, I met like very early on, in the Everai community, like, pre-mint. He was the one that got me on 86. I think, the Insight crew, that's why the Nine Lions crew shout out. They were a big reason why we had anime nights, and they were a big reason, like, why we had ARAM, right? And it was always like this crew that we gamed with and watched anime with together, and we always, DJed about. And then, before the event even, right, we met up when we were collecting our Azuki wristbands. And, afterwards, I think I was supposed to go to 8 Fest after, but I was like, 8 Fest can wait. Like, let's go get dinner, So it was just like, it was just really cool to just even just have that dinner in person, right? And to talk about like a lot of things that we were doing online, but it was like really doing the same things we do online, but in person, and so I think that's like for me, right, on the smaller scale, something I want to do more of. Like, I know we have a lot of holders in Asia, right, and a little bit about myself as well. The start of my career was in Shanghai, and I spent a few years, in Asia, and a lot of my, not only like good friends, but a lot of my family's over there, and and it's just crazy to think that like I haven't been back since, I think at this point like 4 years. But like, I think that's a big part of me too, is as crazy as it sounds, you know, I kind of just want to like travel vlog around the world and just go meet holders in person, right? And there's an idea that we joked around a lot in the past within our team, but I was just like, should we just have people vote on where we go next? Like, and I think that's like at the smallest scale of what can be done, but again, to like kind of bring us back, because I tend to go on tangents. If I ever go too far, just stop me. But to bring it back, right? I think it's in person for sure. And it's also something we want to scale up for, right? That being our first event, and relatively, last minute, honestly, from the planning perspective, we really want to like scale up our event. Oh my God, my English. We really want to scale up our event as we grow as well, right? And have more lead time, as well to go to events. So, that's why I really think that NFT Paris next year, is the next target goal for us for an in-person event. But, again, when we bring it back to the virtual side, and that's why I want to give huge shout out to Mildbits, as well in the audience. He's a part of the Everai team, and we met actually in the Game of Blocks community before. but he ran the whole live stream, right? And that live and the live stream was not easy. You're running in different cameras, and there's a YouTube video for those that haven't seen it. Uh, it was crazy. Like Milebits has a live production experience, through TV for many, many years, and to bring that value, to the Everai team and therefore to the Everai community was amazing because for the people that couldn't attend in person, and that's also my thing for events as well. It's right. I still, when we want to do live events in person, I still want to include the whole community because not everyone can come, right? And even if everyone could come, it's not like you could find an event space for everyone as well, right? And the last thing I want to do is like gate people or make people feel excluded, just because they couldn't get a plane ticket or, maybe they were busy that day, so that's where I think, it's always for us, really making it so you, even though if you aren't there in person, you're still with us in spirit. And through Mildus's experience, you're also able to be there virtually. And I think that to me is always the key when we do these things. And again, to unpack it a little bit, on the that was a bigger scale. To bring it back on the smaller scale, I definitely want to bring back more of those just virtual hangouts, right? And that's where again, like huge shout out Sizzle, a little more alpha. We're gonna be bringing back a lot of community events. So Sunday, this Sunday coming out, there's gonna be a calendar for just events throughout the week. Movie nights, anime nights, spaces. We're really just going. Like and again, huge love to Huntero. Whereas really that going back to our roots of why a lot of us were in Everai and a lot of the fun that was there because this is honestly on me as well, but sometimes I got so caught up in product, we were so deep in the NFT NYC event, it was all hands on deck that to me just I personally didn't have the time to run a lot of these, and you see a lot of people in the community stepping up, and Sizzle's really killing it with bringing all of us back to these roots. So essentially just want to bring it back to those virtual hangouts that we always did, and the big events being NFT Paris next year. So yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's like you're basically, creating your own community roadmap too, and planning that out in that basis. So that's great that you're taking that, and also for the fact that you're using a way to schedule everything and keep everyone informed because I've seen a lot of other, there's other communities out there that just kind of throw out events on an announcement channel, right, and kind of get everyone going, but not many people join and don't really coordinate it that well. So the fact that you guys are actually really planning this out strategically and making sure that everyone can be involved, right, and going back to those roots is honestly really beautiful. Um, Rich, I don't know if you want to add anything from that from your experience, during a lot of communities yourself.
I think the biggest thing from just all the communities is just to make sure that you focused on utility and finding ways to provide a long-term sustainable competitive advantage that's hard to imitate, right? Because if we're working on things that others can copy very easily, it's going to give you short-term gains, and it's not really worth it. So as long as those things are in mind, and we're aware of the incoming trend where supreme utility, that's going to be one of the main deciding factors from who takes it to the next level. All's good.
Yeah, and I wanna bring it back. Oh, I don't know if Andrew, if you want to say something before I.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, but you brought up such a good point, right? And I think that's, again, to bring it all back to balance is my biggest learning experience in the position I'm in is that, right, our whole team is very product focused, right? And a lot of that, and a lot of before, I really got deep into the product as well, I was able to, spend a lot of time in the community, a lot of time hosting events, anime nights. But, as the brand grows and as you said, right, like the incoming trend is always like, what am I gonna do with my NFT? Right? At some point, right, I'm only one person, I didn't have the bandwidth to do both. So that's why I'm really excited to go back to our roots. So it enables me to also focus on the product, like you said, that is the long term. But to also not, to also empower people in the community. And again, huge shout out to Sizzle to host these events just quite frankly didn't have as much time for as much as I want to. I miss it the most actually. That was the most fun I had. Now my days consist of being in meetings with the devs and the artists and the product team, which is amazing and I love it. But I do miss those nights where we're able to kick it. So, I think that's also something as well. And we have been pretty quiet, right? And I'm really excited to just like you said earlier, right? Just get back to our roots. And that came with like being able to scale the team. So, just want to say much love and thank you for bringing up that point because that is the future and that is how companies and brands sustain, right? But also, I always come back to yin and yang. It's very core to my core to myself, where it's just like the other balance of that is that the community and having fun along the way, right? So because products do take a lot of time to make, right? They go through a lot of development cycles, a lot of iterations before it even comes to light, before you could even talk about it. Like the Origin program itself has been in the works for the last like 3 4 months. But like during that time, when it was just me, it was really hard to do both. So and we really solved that solution by scaling. And again, like I'm gonna gas up Sizzle all day, but I'm really excited to bring those vibes back of the roots of wherever I really began. So while we focus on everything for the long term. So much love to everyone again, and thank you for bringing up that point. I think it's really important to talk about.